Welcome to the 13th anniversary of ThrillerFest and the Thriller Awards Banquet. Since its inception, ITW has provided its members with many incredible educational and networking opportunities. Opportunities that can and do make a difference. The ITW membership has grown to nearly 5,000 members in 49 countries, representing over 3.2 billion books in print. Of course, we owe a great deal of thanks to our incredible group of sponsors. Their vision, commitment, and participation enables ITW to host ThrillerFest. We would like to thank each of them. Feel free to root for your favorites. Writers House Literary Agency. Minotaur Books. St. Martin's. An ever-popular Random House. Thomas and Mercer. William Morrow. Book Clubbish. Ocean View Publishing. Tor Forge. Create Space Publishing. Kindle Direct Publishing. This one everyone should applaud for. The Grand Hyatt. Bonaire Zaffrey. Audible. Brilliance Audio. RT Book Reviews. Grand Central Publishing. Another one I know everybody really enjoyed this week, Strand Bookstore. Suspense Magazine. Book Trib. Circle of Seven Productions. ThrillerFest has grown exponentially over the past 13 years. Our programming includes over 300 authors. In addition to the 4 tracks of our Craft Fest Writing School, our latest programs, Master Craft Fest and Career Fest, continue to be a very big hit. As many of you know, we also host spotlight interviews, panels, and workshops, and provide opportunities to network and socialize during cocktail parties, luncheons, and coffee breaks. Along with all of this, we host Pitch Fest and have over 60 agents and editors participate. This allows our authors to get beyond the query letter and actually meet and pitch their work face-to-face with these publishing professionals. And I have to tell you, we have many, many success stories. Of course, one of the highlights of the conference, and one of my personal favorites, is the debut author breakfast, where first-time authors get to talk about their new books to a ballroom full of attendees. And during this busy week, we tend to host over 1,000 people. We really, truly appreciate all of your support. It takes a year to manage all of the details necessary to produce this conference, and we couldn't put on the event without our volunteers. I would love to read everyone's names, but literally the list has become an epic volume. But I'd like to ask our volunteers to quickly stand, and you can find their names in the back of the program to thank them later. But if they would please stand for just a quick round of applause. There are two extraordinary women that we really want to thank. These two ladies work tirelessly all year long to make ITW and ThrillerFest the best that they can be. First, I'd like to bring up Liz Berry, the Executive Director of ITW. I doubt that there's anyone in this room who doesn't know Liz. She's become the face of ITW. And somehow she managed to make everyone feel like they've come home when they come to this event. Liz works countless hours throughout the year to keep ITW running seamlessly. Thank you so much. And finally, Kimberly Howe. Please join me. As you know, Kimberly is the Executive Director of ThrillerFest. Kimberly's vision, innovation, professionalism, kindness, and hours of hard work each year have taken ThrillerFest to a whole new level. She is always looking for new ways to provide attendees with fresh experiences and learning opportunities. This year, Kimberly added a day at the ATF, which allowed the authors to really experience and learn more about this law enforcement agency. Kim, we are so very lucky to have you. Thank you so much for all you do. ITW's philosophy is to innovate, never imitate. There is a very special group of people who work hard throughout the year to ensure that ITW maintains the cutting edge that it has. These are our board of directors. Please hold your applause until I have mentioned all of them. I would ask them to stand, but they won't do it. So, Heather Graham, co-president. John Lasqua, co-president. Linda Fairstein, Director at Large. R.L. Stein, Director at Large. Steve Berry, Vice President, Publications. Sandra Brannon, Vice President, Special Projects. Anthony Franz, Vice President, Awards. Peter James, International Man of Mystery and ITW's Vice President. Barry Lancette, Vice President, Technology. D.P. Lyle, MD, Vice President, Education and Member Services. Jenny Milchman, Vice President, Author Programs. And David Dunn, Secretary, Treasurer, and Financial Officer. Please join me in thanking them. And there are two people without whom none of us would be here. And I just can't thank them enough, and I know that all of you feel the same way. Would David Morrell and Gail Linz please stand? These are the two people who founded ITW. Now, I hope you enjoy your meal. We'll be back in just a little while. Have some fun. She's back. hope everyone enjoyed their dinner. Our next guests have devoted a tremendous amount of time to ITW. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome co-presidents John Lasqua and Heather Graham.
SoCo, go right ahead.
I'm just going to call you Your Excellency, if you don't mind.
Your Excellency.
Dear Excellency.
I like it.
Very nice. Well, good evening, authors, readers, and friends. It's that time of year again when international thriller writers take center stage in New York City for ThrillerFest, and we're just delighted to welcome all of you. This year we have hit record numbers, and it's an amazing sight to see. Looking around this room, it's just mind-boggling. But ITW is more than just a once-a-year showcase for its superstar members. Its mission is far more inclusive and collegial, with an extraordinary array of programs designed to break down walls within the thriller writing community and to provide access to professionals. From agents, publishers, and booksellers to debut authors and seasoned bestsellers. Everyone is welcome, everyone has fun, and everyone will find valuable lessons and make invaluable relationships that often last a lifetime. Our board members and their teams have been working hard all year, including our directors at large, Linda Fairstein and Bob Stein. Let's take a look at what is astoundingly only a partial list of ITW's offerings and programs. Anthony Franz, our VP of Awards, continues to lead our Thriller Awards team to excellence, and Steve Berry, VP of Publications, is pleased to report that the revenue stream provided by our many unique ITW publications remains strong. Barry Lancette, our VP of Technology, reports increases in all website traffic for all ITW websites. He is also busy working with the team of The Big Thrill to give ITW authors more exposure than ever before. Jenny Milchman, our VP of Author Programs, is hard at work with her team, and we're excited to report an increasing number of young adult and middle grade authors joining our membership. We are achieving new heights with the debut program and debut blog, The Thrill Begins, and are kicking off a new season of Inside Thrill Radio. Sandra Brannon, our VP of Special Projects, shares that the ITW Recognized Publishers list continues to grow, particularly in the areas of international publishers and boutique publishers. Doug Lyle, our VP of Education and Member Services, is happy to report that all three of our education arms have grown this year: Craft Fest, Master Craft Fest, and our online Thriller School. International VP Peter James is traveling the world as an ITW ambassador and is noticing a massive explosion in the number of thriller authors in many European countries and in some Latin American countries. He's always striving to help us keep the eye in ITW. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. As you can see, we're continuing to break the mold every day, innovating and succeeding, and we thank you all for your enthusiasm and participation. Thank you. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. This year, we have two of our board members retiring, and so we'd like to honor them. The first who unfortunately could not be here tonight is Linda Fairstein. I don't know how many of you know Linda Fairstein. She has an incredible career with her books. She was also the sex crimes prosecutor in New York City for something like 20 years. She has segued that into a life in which she supports all kinds of battered shelters, not just women's shelters or children's shelters, but shelters for anyone facing any type of danger in a relationship. She has been an incredibly generous and giving person with everything that she's gotten, and we are very grateful to have her as part of ITW. Our next retiring board member is actually here, so we would like to get Jenny Milchman up on stage. For any of you who have been here just one time or many, many times, Jenny is amazing. She has been a director of special programming. She connects authors with venues in which they can have wonderful visibility. She gets programs going for children. She gets them going for the adults. She gets them going for everyone. She is constantly in communication with so many. One of the most important things to me about Jenny, though, is we pride ourselves here. We truly pride ourselves. We are a wonderful, friendly place. When you come to ITW, you can talk to anyone. You can get help from anyone. Our major stars are the kindest people in the world, and we're so grateful to have them. But they can't do it by themselves. And if you ever need help from anyone, if you've ever met somebody coming down the hall and you're lost or you need anything, you can ask Jenny. She's the friendliest, kindest, best ambassador we've ever had, and we love her very much, and we would like to present her to this gift for retiring, but she's not going away. She'll still be here.
Good.
This is the moment I always get a little nervous because sometimes my script disappears, but it's here. Now on to the awards. This year we have added a new award, the Thriller Fan Award. Tom and Marie O'Day, please stand. This award goes to the individuals who year in and year out are tremendous supporters of the thriller genre, amazing cheerleaders for all the authors, and we really thank you for your unending enthusiasm. You're fabulous. Our next award is giving to publishing icons whose careers have helped to build the thriller genre into the blockbuster genre that it is today. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Steve Barry to the stage for the presentation of the Thriller Legends Award.
We've come a long way from Phoenix, haven't we? You remember that? We had about 200 people there that showed up for the first ever gathering of thriller writers in the world. And those early years for us were really, really tough. I mean, it was a tough starting out a new organization. We were young and we were full of ideas. We had all kinds of energy, but we lacked some money. That was the problem. We lacked funds to put it all into place. And we could never have survived without the generous support of patrons and individuals who gave in a variety of many different ways, just not money, but in time and energy and all kinds of things. Many of whom are in this room still here tonight. We've said it before, but it is worth saying one more time that we thank you, please, we thank you very much for everything that you did for us back then. And then there was the support from publishers. At first, it was the big New York houses that stepped up and provided us sponsorships. We needed those to stay alive. We couldn't put on something like this without sponsorships. It's absolutely impossible. It was risky for them. I mean, they were pumping money into an organization that we had no idea whether we were going to be here the next year. We were the new kid on the block, and were we going to stay around? Were we going to be here? But we did. And then something incredible happened. It started growing, and it grew again, and it grew again, and it grew again. I remember when this room was only about a third full. Now we're wall to wall. There's no place, there's no more room to put anybody in here. It's an amazing accomplishment, really. And along the way, while we grew, there came a point when we reached out to some new sponsors. They was mainly the smaller houses. We were asking them for both financial and logistical support. And one such house we approached was kind of new to the game of publishing. It was owned by a husband and wife, Pat and Bob Gussin. After careers in medicine and medical research, Bob as a chief scientific officer and Pat as a worldwide vice president of consumer pharmaceuticals, the Gussins wanted to delve into something really, really different. They were both avid, passionate thriller readers. So they decided to create Ocean View Publishing. The idea was to provide a place where both debut and established authors could show what they have and grow within the thriller world. And wow, did they succeed, man. It was amazing. I didn't really know this particular information until I was researching this talk tonight. After 12 years, the Gussens have published more than 200 titles, and 95% of which are written by ITW members. That's amazing. Amazing. And all of them are mysteries and thrillers, which is even more amazing. So they're very niche in what they do. I remember when Bob and Pat were first approached about supporting ITW. They were just starting out, as we were. They were feeling their way around in really a brand new sandbox in which to play as much as what we were doing. But their response to our request was immediate. Yes, we'll do whatever you need us to do. And for the past decade, they've supported ITW in every single way possible. And I really can't say enough about them. They're wonderful people. And last year, we inaugurated the Thriller Legend Award. Its purpose was to extend a public thank you to those who have given an extraordinary contribution to our organization. Folks who have showed a consistent and unwavering support. We bestowed the first one last year to Tom Doherty of Tour Books. Yeah. Tom is another one who's been there with us from the start, and so this year it is my honor and privilege to give the second Thriller Legend Award to Bob and Pat Gussing.
Wow. Thank you very, very much. Bob and I are just beyond elated to have been chosen for this really incredible recognition. We want to thank the ITW board and staff and to say how privileged that we feel to be even a small part of this hugely successful organization that really is the face and the heart and the soul of thrillers and thriller writers. So thank you. Bob?
I'd like to just echo Pat's thanks to the ITW. What an incredible organization. We're all so blessed to have them backing all of us who are publishers, authors, etc. What an amazing, amazing group they are. I'd like to add my thanks to everybody that Pat thanked, and I'd like to add a thanks to our staff at Ocean View Publishing, Lee Randall, Emily Barr, and Autumn Beckett. Thank you. They can stand up. They truly are the heart of Ocean View Publishing. They keep it running every day while Pat and I trot around doing our little bits here and there, but they're an amazing group. I'd also like to thank, we're small, and so we use a lot of contractors, and I'm not going to name them all, but for printing, for distribution, for sales, for cover design, all of that. I just want to say I thank them. I'm not going to name them, but they really do an incredible job for us. And most of all, I want to thank the more than 80 very, very talented authors who've entrusted us, who were pretty new in this business, so it was a little risky for them to give us their work, their very, very hard work, these talented authors, and entrusted us to take their work to the public. And hopefully, we haven't failed them. They're doing well. They're almost all, I think all of them are members here. And so we're very proud of it. And we really do want to thank all of you, everybody that's part of ITW. It comes to these, this is an incredible family. We would not be where we are without the support of ITW, an incredible group. So thanks to everybody. Thanks for helping us get to where we are. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This next award is very near and dear to all of us at ITW. It is a Silver Bullet Award, and it's given for outstanding philanthropic work. We are honored to have New York Times bestselling author and last year's Silver Bullet recipient, Lisa Gardner, for the presentation of this honor to our 2018 Silver Bullet recipient, Mr. James Rollins. Lisa?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, have you had an amazing ThrillerFest? Speaking for myself, I have spent the past few days having some absolutely amazing fangirl moments where I actually squealed on the inside. I hope you did too. I have stalked probably half a dozen authors, but do not yet have a restraining order issued against me. I hope you have too. And I am thinking on Wednesday, when I have recovered sleep, powers of speech, and possibly detox the liver for no reason whatsoever, that I will be writing happily, and I hope you do too. So I am here tonight for the Silver Bullet Award, which is where we recognize the member of our community who is not only brilliantly talented, but is a sincerely, amazingly good person. With that in mind, here are the 3 things you need to know about this year's recipient, James Rollins. 1, he can neuter a cat in under 30 seconds. In his own words, this was once his vocation. This is now his hobby. 2, he is a fan of late-night infomercials, and again credits his career to Tony Robbins. And 3, and by far the most important we established today, have I mentioned how good the panels were at this conference? Because Steve Barry and James Rollins were amazing. And what we did learn, the most important thing you need to take away from this evening is Jim sold his first book and Steve Barry didn't. When Jim is not writing his absolutely amazing New York Times bestselling novels, he gives so much of his heart and his time to U.S. veterans. Much of this started with ITW itself. He is one of our first members that went on Operation Thriller, which was our first organized effort to have various authors go and do USO tours overseas to entertain the troops. As he said earlier today, he was so incredibly moved to visit overseas military bases and really get to see and experience firsthand what our soldiers, our military men and women go through. Upon returning home, that motivated him to get involved with USA Cares, which is an organization that offers support for our returning veterans. Jim is very involved with their fundraising. He has helped recruit other authors for their efforts. For USA Cares, 95 cents of every dollar goes to a military family itself, assisting with perhaps medical bills, educational costs, whatever it is the particular veteran's family needs. Not one content to start there, he has also become involved with US for Warriors, which is another group, again, formed to help our returning servicemen and women. And in particular, he's very proud to be a part of VPI, Veterans Publishing, Inc., which helps our returning soldiers tell their stories and share them for their own benefit and for the education for all of us. James Rollins is one of those great, amazing people. He gives the best of himself to his work, and he gives even better amount of himself to his community, to his family and friends, and to particularly our U.S. veterans whose situation has touched him, and he does his best to make a difference for them every day. And for those reasons, I am honored to present this year's Silver Bullet Award to Jim Rollins.
Thank you very much, Mom. Can we just bow our heads down just for a quick moment? Tony Robbins, thank you. My career. I do appreciate this honor. I don't mean to make fun of that, because I do sincerely support the veterans out there, but I also sincerely do not deserve this award. When I was offered this, I thought I shouldn't accept it because I was convinced that you mistook James Rollins, the vet, as James Rollins, the veteran, rather than James Rollins, the veterinarian. Distinctly different. Yes, draining a dog's anal glands. Hazardous, yes. Pales in comparison to the men and women in the armed services. And I will prove to you why I don't deserve this, because I am always a big advocate for the truth. It's not true. Is BC here somewhere? I know we guys saw him all cleaned up and dressed. BC, stand up. There he is. Everybody turn around and look at him. I told him I'm going to embarrass him. BC actually is a vet and not veterinarian. He's the founder of U.S. for Warriors. He's also one of the original ITW members also. He's a good friend. He's a great writer. He's a great man. He took this organization from nothing to where it is, to where just last year they won the San Diego County Veterans Nonprofit of the Year. And his goal this year is to take it from the grassroots in San Diego and spread it to a nationwide organization. Brilliant writer. I just read his newest book, Status 6. Scared the crap out of me. But yet still he has the time to give back. He's a humble man. He deserves this award much more than I do. I also think the only reason that this award was offered to me is I haven't been here in 7 years. I used to be the master of ceremonies at this event. I know how hard it is. Once I was done my tour of duty as master of ceremonies, I did not sign up for a second round. I ran. I have not been back for 7 years. So I think the other reason this was offered is, dangle something shiny in front of Jim Rollins. He'll come running. Apparently it worked. And just now it's dawned on me, they're going to make me come here next year to do what Lisa's just done. And one of the persons, I'm sure probably will be thanking her later, but I also want to thank Kathy Antrim. This is an unsung, unappreciated role to be master of ceremonies at this event. And to pull this off is really hard, so thank you. So that is all I'm going to say. I'm going to get off stage. I remember when I ran Master of Ceremonies, my shows ran for like 4 hours. My goal was to mostly just to put everybody to sleep. Secretly, then I would poison you all. Less competition. So thank you very much. I do appreciate it very much.
Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the 2018 Thriller Awards. It gives me great pleasure to bring to the stage ITW's Vice President of Awards, Anthony Franz.
Good evening. Last year, one of the winners of the Thriller Awards, A.J. Hartley, told the audience that when his ailing father was dying, one of the only things his dad could do in his final days was sit by the fire while family members read him Lee Child novels. Hartley says, "This stuff matters." And I think if we went around this room tonight with all the great authors and editors and industry professionals, we'd hear a lot of other untold number of stories that prove that that's true. So it's been my great honor this year to have helped shepherd through another amazing ensemble of talent who make up the nominees for the 2018 Thriller Awards. Before we present the awards, I'd like to thank the dozens of ITW members who, without pay or recognition, undertook the daunting task of judging more than 1,000 submissions, and without whom we wouldn't be here tonight. So how about we give them a hand? Without further ado, presenting the award for Best Young Adult Thriller Novel is Susan Furlong.
The nominees for the Best Young Adult Novel are The Rains by Greg Hurwitz, Torteen, The Boy She Left Behind by Greg Olson, Polis Books, To Catch a Killer by Cheryl Scarborough, Torteen, The Delphi Effect by Risa Walker, Skyscape, and Proof of Lies by Diana Rodriguez Wallach, Entangled Publishing. And the winner is Greg Hurwitz.
Well, the timing of this is fortuitous because I went to a matinee of Dear Evan Hansen and I just stopped crying 5 minutes ago. So if I was up here a little earlier, you would have thought I was having a Sally Fields moment. But it's a little awkward for me to occupy the stage right after James Rollins because we share a hobby, because I also can neuter a cat in less than 30 seconds. So I'm completely delighted by this and caught next to speechless, which is probably something we should all savor. I've been fortunate enough to nab a few nominations for awards in the past, but I've been a perennial bridesmaid, and I have a closet full of seafoam green taffeta dresses to show for it. So it's especially meaningful for me to have my bridezilla moment in the sun now. It was a hell of a field this year. Greg Olson putting a serial killer into play, Cheryl Scarborough killing off her lead's mother, Diane Rodriguez Wallach stealing off a sister, Risa Walker talking to dead people. What a truly horrendous group of humans we are. And I am delighted to be in your company. As for ITW, looking out here at all this, I can't help but cast my mind back to that preliminary should we, shouldn't we meeting in 2004, when a band of us discussed founding an organization devoted specifically to thrillers. I remember having great hope that I would contribute to the genesis of a group that one day would give me an award. But the way this group has taken off has been a source of huge pride to me, as has been being counted as a member. And though we're never supposed to say so, some awards count more than others. And from a personal perspective, I'm delighted and humbled that the Reigns has been recognized by you. Back when I was younger and dumber, I used to think that writing was a solitary venture. And that said, there's a few people that I'd like to thank. First of all, Torteen for taking on this perverse bit of fiction, Tom Doherty and Melissa Frayne in particular. My tireless publicist, Dana Kay, deserves special mention. And of course, I need to acknowledge the inimitable and irreplaceable Lisa Erbach Vance, who is the finest agent in the world. All of you writers out there who aren't represented yet, if you're smart, you'll email her tonight. She'll love that. Librarians and booksellers, for doing what you do and for giving me something to do during my wayward childhood. And to all you readers without whom this would all be one big exercise in self-indulgence. And last, with immense gratitude, I want to acknowledge my wife, who, when I've faced any decision, creative or financial, has never once urged me to play it safe. There's not a greater gift a writer can ask for from a spouse. Thank you again for this award. I look forward to brandishing it with great enthusiasm at every opportunity. Thank you.
Presenting the award for Best eBook Original Novel is Kyle Steele.
The nominees for Best eBook Original Novel are Second Chance by Sean Black, Resurrection America by Jeff Gunhouse, Seven Guns Press, Trojan by Alan McDermott, Thomas and Mercer, Witness by Caroline Mitchell, Thomas and Mercer, A Fragile Thing by Kevin Wignall, Thomas and Mercer. And the winner is Sean Black, Second Chance. Sean was unable to make it tonight, but accepting on his behalf is Greg Hurwitz.
I'd just like to take this opportunity to talk a little bit more about myself. No, Sean said to pass on his enormous gratitude. He's sorry that he couldn't be here, and now I have bookends. So, thank you.
Presenting the award for Best Short Story is Chantel Osman.
The nominees for Best Short Story are Too Much Time by Lee Child, Delacorte. What Could Possibly Go Boing, Matt Coward, Ellery Queen Mystery Magazine. Charcoal and Cherry by Zoe Z. Dean, Ellery Queen Mystery Magazine. The Kill Switch by Willie Vlautin, Hachette. And Test Drive by Ben H. Winters, Hachette. And the winner of Best Short Story is Zoe Z. Dean, Charcoal and Cherry. Zoe was unable to make it tonight, but accepting on her behalf is Ted Sturtz.
Hey guys, so thing is, I run a book review, and the winner of this award is a relatively new reviewer who couldn't be here tonight and lives on the West Coast. First thing I want to say is, she is a young and new author who, where we observed her talent, and one of the reasons this is pretty much the only event like this that I come to every single year is because of how you nurture authors. And I applaud everyone in this room who has a hand in that for this. Now, I lost her acceptance speech. So should we try to call her? I'm thinking that's a yes. Okay, let's see how this goes. really didn't expect this, neither did she. And I'll put her up to the microphone. Okay, this is kind of embarrassing. So Zoe, which is her pen name, isn't answering. Okay, she'll kill herself tomorrow, which means, and the thing is, she has 2 books that she's supposed to review. So she can't kill herself that soon. But okay, the gist of what she really had to say was, number 1, and I do recall what she wrote, except for names, was that she was absolutely thrilled to be nominated for this and to be in the company of the people who were also nominated. People say that a lot, but here you have another young author who's in her late 20s, whose work is so awesome that you guys all voted for that. And this is, when I do get a hold of her and tell her about this will be incredibly encouraging to her. And perhaps she is a new star on the horizon. If you are here and you have worked with her, I lost my notes, but you are so enormously thanked. I will never be up here accepting this award for myself, and yet I still won't thank the people in my life. So thank you very much. This is going to mean everything to this young author who will be so encouraged and will write so much harder and will turn out such great stuff. Truly an honor. Thank you very much.
Presenting the award for Best Paperback Original is Chris Goff.
The nominees for Best Paperback Original Novel are Grievance by Christine Bell, Lake Union. Stillhouse Lake by Rachel Kane, Thomas and Mercer. The Resurrector by Leighton Green, Leighton Green. Police at the Station and They Don't Look Friendly by Adrienne McKinty, 7th Street Books. And The Day I Died by Lori Rader Day, William Morrow. And the winner is Christine Bell, Grievance.
One of the things I love about writing is it's not public speaking. Thank you to my publisher, Lake Union, and editors Jody Warshaw and Caitlin Alexander. Thank you, Sandra Dykstra Literary Agency, and my agent, Jill Marr. And thank you to the ITW. This is my first ThrillerFest, and I have been to every panel I could make it to, and I have been schooled this week by so many enlightened writers. This is a fabulous program. Thank you.
Presenting the award for Best First Novel is Todd Gerber.
Good evening. The nominees for Best First Novel are Deep Down Dead by Steph Brodrib, Orenda Books. Ragdoll by Daniel Cole, Echo. The Red Line by Walt Gregg, Berkeley. The Freedom Broker by K.J. Howe, Kirkus. The Lost Ones by Sheena Kamal, William Morrow. And the winner is K.J. Howe, The Freedom Broker.
I've been on the stage many times, but I've never had the opportunity to speak before. And now I'm finding myself speechless. Thank you very much for your kindness. I'd love to say that I'm honored to be, one of the nominees with such a talented group of debut authors. And I also would like to thank the judges for taking the time out of their busy schedules to read so many books. A special thanks to my publishers, Quercus and Headline, for believing in a female action hero with type 1 diabetes. I'd like to thank Karen Slaughter for introducing me to my agent, Victoria Sanders. And I also wanted to do a very special thank you to my publisher and editor, Nathaniel Marunas, who went above and beyond to help me hone that manuscript. And we all know what a good friend editors can be. I've benefited so much from the generosity and kindness of many ITW members, and I'd like to make special mention to David Morrell, Lee Child, Steve Barry, and Peter James. I also wanted to thank my husband, Russ, who supported me as I jetted off all around the world, interviewing kidnap negotiators, special forces soldiers, and other, interesting folks. I mean, it's research, right? And we all know the power of fiction, as, Anthony said earlier tonight. And, it can really change lives. And I'm really hoping that, my work with, kidnapping and a character with diabetes will hopefully bring awareness about people with chronic illnesses can really lead full and happy lives. And as well, that we hopefully bring awareness about hostages that still need to come home. I'm really inspired to be here tonight in a room with people who share the same enthusiasm as I do for murder and mayhem. Thank you.
Presenting the award for Best Hardcover is Don Hughes.
The nominees for Best Hardcover Novel are Ill Will by Dan Sean Ballantyne, The Long Drop by Denise Mina, Little Brown and Company, The Breakdown by B.A. Paris, St. Martin's Press, Fierce Kingdom by Jen Phillips, Viking, Final Girls by Riley Seiger, Dutton, And the winner is Riley Seiger. Final, girls.
So other than a bowling trophy in the 7th grade, I have literally never won anything before in my life. So this is very strange for me right now. So I have some people to thank. Thank you, ITW. Thank you, Nick Petrie, for reminding me to thank ITW in case this happened. God, I need to thank my agent, Michelle Brower, who has been with me for 9 years, several names, 6 books, and I'm so glad she stuck with me because I think it's finally paying off. To Dutton, everyone at Dutton, you are all so amazing and wonderful, and I'm honored to be a part of the Dutton family. And I see you, Maya Ziv. My editor, Maya, is just, from the moment I talked to her, I was like, I think I like her. And now, she's like a long-lost sister. And she talks me down from some ledges, and she pushes me forward, and she makes me be the best writer that I possibly can be. Everyone at Dutton. To thank the people, I've benefited from the generosity of some wonderful writers. Lisa Gardner, thank you. Karen Slaughter, Stephen King. Writers are so generous and so kind, and thank you all who's ever talked to me in the hallways. Jennifer Hillier, thank you. I'm not good at this. Finally, I need to thank my husband, Mike Livio. Final Girls was written at a very not good time in my life. I didn't have a publisher. I had been laid off from my newspaper job. I really didn't know what I was going to do. And I'm like, I have this idea for a book that I think I might want to write. And he gave me the time and the space and the peace of mind that allowed me to write it. And I will forever be grateful. And thank you very, very much.
Well, we're a few pages behind. Okay. Our next award is the coveted Thriller Master Award. To present this award, please join me in welcoming last year's Thriller Master, Lee Child.
Well, thank you very much. It has been a real pleasure and a tremendous honor to be your Thriller Master for the last year, although for 364 out of those 365 days, I was completely paralyzed with imposter syndrome, because I honestly am not sure if I belong on the same list as some of the earlier people chosen for this award, but happily tonight, normal service will be continued, because my only role here is to pass on the baton to a writer who truly does deserve to be on just about every list in the world and probably at the top of most of them. In 48 years of professional output, he has reached, we gotta say, hundreds of millions of people through his work in print and on television. That work is obviously, by definition, entertaining, compelling, and addictive, but it's also very intelligent, very complex, and very unafraid, which he is as a writer. We should all learn something. This guy does it his own way, and some would say he does it in his own time. As a man, he is one of nature's real gentlemen. He is a terrific guy to get to know. He is a man of serious principle. He is a really generous philanthropist. He can play chess. But I was worried that this introduction was going to get just a bit too kind of nice and sappy. We are, after all, bitterly cynical thriller writers. So I thought I should do some research and see if I could find something negative to say about him. So I did some research, actually quite a lot of research. Actually more research than I've done on my last 5 novels combined. And I did find something. Technically, not a crime. Not really a felony or a misdemeanor. I think it is, we could call it a character flaw. We could call it a lapse in judgment. I think in today's criminology, the jargon would be a poor choice. Because it turns out that our 2018 Thriller Master, in fact, is a Mets fan. We will see what he has to say about that in just a minute. But right now, we are going to interrupt our regularly scheduled programming because there are 2 people that traditionally we hear from at this point. So please would you join me in welcoming to the stage your friends and mine, Mr. Daniel Palmer and Mr. Brad Parks.
Jon Snow, what seems to be your trouble?
Oh, hello, Daenerys. Since you asked, I'm embarrassed to admit, but I'm completely lost.
Lost? Why, don't be silly. It's easy to get to the land of the north from here. Just head for the exit and keep walking, you know, north.
No, not that kind of lost. What I mean to say is I don't know what's happening in my own show. There's so many names, dates, places, events, wars. I can't keep track of it all.
Fear ye not, Jon Snow. The answers to all you seek can be found in the pages of these magical volumes.
What witchcraft is this that I now hold in my hand?
That is not witchcraft. It is a Game of Thrones, the first book in the Song of Fire and Ice series by our creator, George R.R. Martin.
George R.R. Martin. Never heard of him.
He is the writer of us, Jon Snow. He created our world and everything in it. All the answers you seek, everything you wish to know can be found in there.
May I read this?
By all means, please, be my guest.
That was absolutely incredible. It was like living my life all over again in rich and vivid detail in a way my show just can't quite capture.
If you're so satisfied with these great reads, then why do you still look so glum?
Oh, I wish I could go back in time and read the novels first. It would save me so much heartache and confusion. If only, if only, if I only. I would know who I was killing and why their blood was spilling. At spoilers I would look. I'd get depth from the money logs, a preview of the dialogue if I only read the book.
You could follow all the action, not depend upon closed caption to know which characters got the hook. And some who met a tragic fate would live to see another day if you only read the book. Oh, I know all the bastards without looking up their family trees. I'd have pages on poisoning Chablis, and my brother and sister shouldn't do the deed. We would spot all the omissions, not to mention the additions, post our grievances to Facebook. And we'd act as though we'd been betrayed as a show somehow led us astray because we read the book. I would know I should be dread every single wedding, the last vow so many took. And I'd grow quite impatient, wondering how much George vacations while awaiting his next book. You could finally go to Comic-Con and act as though you belong without feeling like a schnook. And you'd converse in Dothraki, and it wouldn't sound that wacky if you only read the book. Oh, winter may never come, but there's no reason to weep. We can study Targaryen history
at 700 pages. $20 seems cheap.
Our glee would be unfettered when we announce the books are better than the show that's got us hooked. The Westeros Wiki would be for naught, but we'd have a means to track the plot if we only read the book.
To be a world builder of acclaim, try sticking an RR in your name. Bet you'd still write gobbledygook. Good luck showing 30 points of view in a single chapter. No can do, only George could write that book.
If there's a character who's lagging, George has me kill him with a dragon. Yeah, their butt gets mighty cooked. And since novels don't have cameos, Ed Sheeran won't be in his prose if that helps you read the book. Who cares that my mind's eye isn't half as good as CGI?
I'm not awake after too much screen time.
And I don't nervously eat when my favorite character dies.
If it weren't for the blood feuding and all the constant screwing, would these tales get overlooked? If there's a market for tame fantasy, it sure as heck don't appeal to me. I'm glad I read the books.
Well, Jon Snow, what are you going to do now?
Now we must find George Martin and pay him our respects. And maybe find out what happens next.
I doubt he knows.
Let's be off! We're off to see George Martin, the wonderful maker of us. There is no whiz in this biz, better at making shit up. Nobody writes more engaging tales, and that is why we wail, we wail, we wail, we wail, we wail, when he doesn't write fast enough. We're off to see George Martin, the wonderful maker of us. We're off to see George Martin, the wonderful maker of us. There is no whiz in this biz, better at making shit up. Nobody writes more engaging tales, and that is why we wail, we wail, we wail, we wail, we wail, when he doesn't write fast enough. We're off to see George Martin, the wonderful maker of us.
Please welcome your 2018 Thriller Master, Mr. George Raymond Richard Martin.
That was fairly extraordinary. I'm trying to imagine how Jack Reacher sounded when he sang his song for you last year, Lee. But I would like to thank Jon Snow and Daenerys. It's always good to see a couple of familiar faces. And, here at what appears to be a writers' gathering or convention, I go to a fair number of those, of course, in the worlds of science fiction and fantasy. But this one seemed strange to me because there was no one dressed as Slave Leia. I mean, are you allowed to have a gathering where no one is dressed as Slave Leia? I guess so. Well, this is a considerable honor. And of course, I would like to thank all of you for welcoming me so warmly, and ITW for thinking of me and bringing me in here. That's all pretty amazing. And for me being up here, I have a lot of people to thank. Of course, my wonderful publishers, two of who are here, Tor. My friends from Tor are somewhere here. Where's Tor? And, of course, my friends from Bantam Random House, who are sitting right here, Bantam Spectre and Random House. And Kay Macaulay, the Queen of Agents, who's been representing me since before most of you were born, you young whippersnappers, you. I also have a crack team back in New Mexico. I brought Sid here with me, one of my minions, and I have numerous others, Beck, Lenore, and Marisa, and Rhea, and Elias, who basically, try to keep everybody from bothering me so I can remember what it was like to write. So like the guy in Despicable Me, I need my army of minions now, and they will do a wonderful job for me. And I don't know how I'd get by these days without them. And of course, most of all, my wife Paris, who could not be with us tonight, but who has been my mainstay for many, many years and many, many decades. I wish she was here to see this. She would have laughed her ass off at that song. There's also a friend I want to mention who is also not here, and who sadly will not be here anymore because he died about a month ago. Gardner Dozois, who I'm glad that some of you know him. I know many of you probably do not. Gardner was, he and I have known each other since 1971. He was the editor who was a slush pile reader for Galaxy magazine, who fished my first story out of the slush pile and passed it along to the editor with a recommendation to buy, which he did. And in subsequent years, Gardner and I met at conventions, and even though we never lived in the same city or spent much time together, became very close friends, year after year, decade after decade, convention after convention, and we worked together. We wrote a novel together called Hunter's Run. We attended many writers' workshops together. And Gardner became an outstanding editor in his own right, the editor of Isaac Asimov's science fiction magazine for 2 decades. Gardner was an amazing editor. And in the last decade, he and I had the honor of actually editing with him. We did a series of big anthologies that I'm very proud of. We did some for Tor and some for Random House. What was unusual about these anthologies, and we did a number, is that they were cross-genre anthologies. As warriors, dangerous women, rogues, and we invited to participate in all of these writers from science fiction, fantasy, yes, but also mystery writers, thriller writers, romance writers, writers of historical fiction. Give them a very broad theme and do it. And the idea behind these anthologies, which was something Gardner and I believed in, was to break down the genre barriers, because there's too many people these days who just go into the store and they have their favorite authors and they go to the science fiction section, they never even look at another section. They've never heard of all the extraordinary people who are doing great mysteries, who are doing great thrillers, who are doing great historical fiction or romances. And just the reverse, there are people who go into the thriller section and they don't know what's happening in science fiction and fantasy. And Gardner read widely. Although he was a science fiction editor, he read in all of these genres. He knew many of these people, and it was a thrill for us to work with this, and it did work. When these books came out, we would get letters from saying, well, I bought it for the Stephen King story, but then I found this Diana Gabaldon story, and my God, she's really good. I'm going to buy her books too, or vice versa. And that's the kind of thing that we were both about, breaking down, because in essence, we're all storytellers, and that's really what it matters about. The rest, I think, is all furniture. I've always loved the words that, God, now I'm forgetting, the Nobel Prize acceptance speech by Faulkner, who said, the only thing worth writing about is the human heart in conflict with itself. And I believe that, and I think all good writers are doing that regardless of what label is put on the spine of their book. The human heart in conflict with itself on a spaceship, the human heart in conflict with itself in a castle, in the mean streets of New York City or Los Angeles or wherever you are, the mean streets of medieval Scotland in a historical novel. We're all telling stories, and we should all be reading each other's stories and sharing each other's stories. And that's what's so thrilling to me, to be recognized by the Thriller Masters here, and to be part of your group. And I hope we can open up all these things and just all read great stories and appreciate each other regardless of what label is on the book. I think Gardner would have loved it too. I'm sorry he couldn't be here today, and I'm sorry he won't be around to do more of these anthologies, because if he is, I would invite a bunch of you to be in it too. But in any way, thank you so much for this honor, and for a great weekend. Thank you.
Finally, please join us next year for ThrillerFest 14, July 8th through July 13th, 2019, when we welcome John Sanford as our 2019 Thriller Master. Thank you for coming, and have a great evening.